So this is about the third video on mark making, and I thought what I would show you is my more professionally put together book or portfolio, artist portfolio. And so when we talk about marks and mark making, I just also wanted to comment on not just mark making, but blank space. So blank space, in my work anyways, to me is more, or I guess as effective as the art itself. So what I mean by that is when we leave space in our work, you can see with this painting above, this mixed media painting, Carousel. This was done on wood panel, and I didn't leave any blank space, and it still works with this painting. I still love this painting, but for myself, I really had to work at the challenge as an artist of leaving blank space in some of my work. So this was an original watercolor piece I did on paper. It's a lot easier leaving blank space on paper versus canvas or wood, but the blank space, I kind of relate it to having a conversation with someone, and you know the silence that some people find really awkward in a conversation. Sometimes that silence is very much cherished, and it's a very important part of conversation or sharing space with someone, but not feeling like you have to fill up the whole conversation with words. So being comfortable with, say, silence in a conversation, that's how I think of being comfortable with the lack of mark making or the blank space in art. So I just wanted to mention that because I do use blank space as a tool in my work. This particular journal page that I had done, I left a lot of blank space on this side. And I think the work that resonates with me the most does have more blank space in it. So this is an example of Blushing in Nature, my mountain painting. In my mountain paintings, I use a lot of blank space. You can see other other mark making elements that I use in here that we've talked about, like the polka dots, the leaves. I use a lot of botanicals, the round moon mixed with the organic abstract nature of the watercolor. And what's really interesting is I used to paint, when I thought of a shape that came to my mind, for some reason I would put down triangles. So in all of my art journaling and just doodling, triangles would often come out, and I thought, why do I have triangles coming out? I'm really not interested in triangles, but it just seemed to be natural. Like instead of circles or, you know, ovals or different shapes, I would have triangles in my work. And it's so interesting that when I started to do these mountain pieces, my mountains are essentially triangles. They're a very basic triangular shape, and they have become my most popular paintings, my bestsellers, and the work that's most representative, I would say, for me as an intuitive artist. So just so interesting how that kind of came into play. These works, this is another example of a work, says Remember Your Breath. I remembered this, I painted this in 2020 during the pandemic. I wanted a piece that when I walked by, it was on my wall after I painted it, and I could look at it and remind myself of something important at that time, which this is still very important to me because I find a lot of us hold our breath, especially while we are painting or exercising or just day to day. We forget what it is to take a deep breath. So anyway, this painting, Remember Your Breath, was just one I had done for myself.